What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best gaming related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. True Crime was a really interesting and awesome concept video game series, guys, that we got 2 installments of, and we were promised a third, and then obviously, things went pretty much awry in a number of different ways. And I want to talk about True Crime and where is True Crime 3 at this point. This is a game that I've definitely wanted to see come out, and I think it could definitely be something special in today's gaming landscape. So let's get into it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Chris Harding of the Games Cabin, if you owned a PS2, Xbox, or GameCube back in the day, then you may have played through Activision's open world crime thriller True Crime. True Crime spawned a sequel that fared a little worse than its predecessor, but still performed well. Ever since 2005, fans of the franchise have been patiently waiting for Activision to develop and release a sequel. Whilst we did get a teaser trailer back in 2009 that revealed True Crime 3 would be set within Hong Kong, nothing ever came of it as Activision shut down the project and sold the publishing rights to Square Enix, who then released Sleeping Dogs, though it should be noted that Sleeping Dogs doesn't have any connection with the True Crime series, but is considered by many to be the spiritual successor. Before we go any farther, the fact that Square Enix was given those rights, right, when it comes to True Crime and the series, to create Sleeping Dogs made little to no sense to me. I mean, not that Sleeping Dogs is like a bad game, guys, but I think when you get those rights to True Crime, you at least play one of those games, or I should say make one of those games in that franchise. To see how things go. I mean, especially build off of the momentum that was started with the first 2 games. I mean, this series, guys, could have very well had the same trajectory as a series like Grand Theft Auto or some of those titles if it would have just continued into the future. So I think one of the biggest mistakes that happened here was that True Crime was never continued after Square Enix got the rights to the title. So what now? If you're still waiting ever so patiently for True Crime 3, you're in for a disappointment. It's not happening. Activision has seemingly abandoned the franchise after abandoning the True Crime trademark. Obviously, guys, look, they abandoned the trademark, but here's the deal. When I hear something like that, obviously it doesn't, I mean, it's been so many years, right? We're in the year 2022 and we don't have another True Crime title since the last one, came out in the early 2000s. What I will say, though, is this. We as the community, our voice matters, guys. It really does. I mean, a lot of people feel that, the publishers and a lot of these different developers and such don't listen to the fan bases. And to a certain extent, there may be some that don't listen to everyone. But that being said, there is, we can build movements around these titles. And I always bring up the example of Dead Space because I've talked about Dead Space on my YouTube channel a lot, guys, talking about how we wanted a Dead Space 4 and trying to really voice it into existence. And what happened was, the community built, more communities around Dead Space and really started building momentum, whether it was reaching out to EA, whether it was, obviously going on like Facebook and Reddit, creating groups and things of that nature to really build momentum around, hey, we want another Dead Space title made. And even when EA shuts down Visceral Games and does all these different things where it seems all doom and gloom that a Dead Space 4 would never come, here we are, guys, with a Dead Space reboot in the making right now. And so what I'm getting at is that we as a community, if communities are built around True Crime and this franchise, getting the hashtag out there, hashtag True Crime 3, tweeting at Square Enix, tweeting at Activision, creating content around the game. And that's something, guys, that I am definitely going to be doing, is talking about True Crime 3 and just the True Crime franchise, trying to build more awareness around this franchise. That's what we do on this YouTube channel. We want to build awareness around games that we want to see continuations of, and the future of gaming as a whole, guys, pushing us into the next generation of this thing that we love so much. So with that being said, guys, that's where we are at this point. Right now, True Crime is most likely in a limbo state or a state of no return. But that doesn't mean that we can't bring this thing back in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a True Crime 3 remake, or I should say just a True Crime remake, True Crime 3, or something like remastered, something in that of that nature, guys, that we can get our hands on and we have something to work with to kind of build off of. But let me know, what do you guys think about what happened here with True Crime and the True Crime franchise? Do you think we'll ever get a True Crime 3? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more True Crime 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Ken Levine, the creator of BioShock and that franchise, guys, is obviously working on a new game. His very own new company, Ghost Story Games, is a company that he created, and they've been working on an upcoming title for quite some time. And guys, full disclosure, when it comes to Ken Levine, I think that he is really a genius when it comes to the art form of creating video games. Now, obviously, there's a sample size there. I've really only played the BioShock titles, but I love BioShock. I've created a lot of BioShock, video content here on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all that content here. So I love Ken Levine, and I'm very excited about the future of BioShock, but I kind of take that with a pinch of salt and, kind of with somewhat of an asterisk, because Ken Levine is not attached to the new BioShock title. That being said, though, Ken Levine also it's been really reported widely that he's been tough to work with in a number of different capacities with crunch and things of that nature. Well, guys, there's been a lot of talk about his new game, his up-and-coming title that's supposedly coming out, and it's been, in development for quite some time. Well, we're getting new information about this game and what's going on behind the scenes. So let's get into it. Guys, coming to us from Addie Robertson of The Verge, Ghost Story Games is full of contradictions. BioShock creative lead Ken Levine is reportedly facing trouble. According to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, Levine's studio Ghost Story Games and its long-awaited debut project have been plagued by shifting design goals and an overambitious vision. It's not a new criticism of Levine, but it suggests that the game's nearly 8-year waiting period might not end any time soon, and hints at some details about what Ghost Story is actually doing. So, according to Bloomberg, part of the delay stems from Levine's mercurial management style and perfectionism. Like previous reports from his time at Irrational, it describes a place where projects would get suddenly overhauled or scrapped after months of work. One anecdote describes studio members joking about convincing Levine to adopt their ideas via conception, reference to the artificially planted thoughts in Christopher Nolan's Inception. An open-ended release timeline has apparently been a double-edged sword, with Levine reportedly saying that the studio's ongoing budget is a rounding error in Take-Two's operation, which could give its game an indefinitely long development process. So, before we go any farther, to a degree, I really respect just how, from the perspective of, Ken Levine and how his process is. I mean, it is something that's been widely documented that he's pretty much a perfectionist, guys. And I can understand this as someone who went to film school. I love and try to perfect what I do as well, right? And that being said, though, there does come a point where it becomes an issue from a developmental perspective, from, creating this, this game. Obviously, this can happen in movies, it can happen in games, but we're seeing it really badly with Levine, whether it was BioShock, whether it was now with Ghost Story Games. I think the major difference, though, with BioShock was that, he's obviously the lead creative director on this thing, but they still had higher ups over there that were kind of pushing the everything along, so to speak. He would put things into almost a development hell cycle because he's such a perfectionist, wanting it to be the perfect title ever, but it got forced to be pushed along at times. And that sometimes might actually be a good thing for Ken Levine, to have somebody above him to kind of keep him grounded somewhat and to kind of keep things moving along, because when he's had his own company, at least up to this point, it's been kind of a problem without question, and that may be just taking it lightly. But Ghost Story's core mission also contains some built-in tension. The studio grew alongside Levine's fascination with narrative Legos, his term for the kind of procedurally generated drama produced by Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor's Nemesis system or some recent indie games. At the same time, it's apparently been pursuing the feel of a heavily scripted and polished big budget 3D experience, something that's difficult to produce with a highly variable story. The BioShock franchise, meanwhile, has proceeded without Levine, although a new installment has also been in development for some time with no release in sight. An unrelated System Shock sequel has followed an even more tortured development roadmap. So, System Shock 2 helped define the immersive sim, a genre that gave players a feeling of free choice through versatile but often painstakingly handcrafted systems. It's a style that feels ripe for an experiment with infinitely generated conflict, especially paired with Levine's love of lofty, clashing philosophical movements, but for now those clashes are apparently happening inside the studio as well. And I think, guys, look, at the end of the day, I think that, this can obviously become a real issue when you have that, that lead creative director, or you have the studio head is talking about, essentially things and, their vision for something. And then you go months and months, working on something, everything looks good, and then it gets scrapped for, one reason or another. And so I think that is a real problem, because it can really lead to a lot of tension in the studio, because people are working on things so hard, and then just to see it thrown away, that would definitely start to mess with you from a mentally. And, I gotta say, guys, it's very unfortunate at this point in time, because Ken Levine, I think, really is brilliant. I loved BioShock Infinite, guys. Unbelievable story. I mean, at the ending was incredible. Just the landscape that could be BioShock in the future, with all the different lighthouses and all these different worlds and things of that nature, really opened up Pandora's box. I would have loved, guys, to see Ken Levine stay in the BioShock universe for a little while longer, instead of now moving over to his own, game. Now, maybe this game is going to be a spiritual successor to BioShock, or it's going to be its own thing altogether, but it doesn't look either way that it's going to be coming anytime in the foreseeable future. But with that being said, guys, what do you think happened here with Ken Levine's, upcoming new game? I mean, do you think this game's in a development, hell cycle, as they're saying in the article? Do you think that there is, like essentially being in a limbo state, a state of no return? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more content like this, guys, stay here with Zero TV. Star Wars Republic Commando was a really special title, guys. I enjoyed it a lot. It wasn't my favorite Star Wars game ever made, but I gotta tell you, it was still a really exciting experience overall. And I thought that it could definitely have done well with having a continuation of some sort or another. And we never got that. And so I want to talk, guys, in this segment of the show about Star Wars Republic Commando and what happened here and everything that we know about a potential return to this universe, which obviously we've been having a number of Star Wars titles that are going to be coming out, guys. But in terms of Republic Commando getting a sequel, let's talk about it. So, guys, coming to us in an article from Ewan Patterson of Screen Rant, LucasArts canceled a sequel to Republic Commando called Imperial Commando years ago. Here's why Lucasfilm Games should resurrect the project. So, A planned sequel to Star Wars Republic Commando was infamously canceled by LucasArts shortly after making it to the conceptual stage of development. But with Star Wars The Bad Batch recently referencing the protagonist of the first game, Delta Squad, as well as exploring how the Clone Commando program worked during the early stages of the Empire, now's the perfect time for the sequel to be revived. Lucasfilm Games has announced a number of new Star Wars titles since the beginning of 2021, following the conclusion of an earlier deal with EA that gave the publisher exclusive access to the Star Wars license. While EA's tenure with the license was divisive, it illustrated the potential there was in revisiting older Star Wars video games, with developer DICE's 2 Star Wars Battlefront titles both featuring in the top 5 best-selling Star Wars games of all time. So let's talk about this, guys. So before we go any further, Star Wars The Bad Batch. If you guys haven't checked this out, guys, I mean, absolutely awesome. You should definitely check it out. But I totally agree with this, that really, I mean, this is, when we talk about Star Wars The Bad Batch, it gives us kind of this Pandora's box into returning back to Star Wars Republic Commando. I really think it opens up the door to it, just because there's a lot of people who have been watching The Bad Batch and they really enjoy it and excited to see the continuations of that. And so I think that with Republic Commando, this could definitely play its part from a video game perspective, having a Republic Commando 2, or calling it Imperial Commando, going back to what it was called before it got canceled. So Star Wars Republic Commando reemerged into the spotlight in 2021 as Lucasfilm Games released a remaster of the title developed by Aspyr that coincided with the release of The Bad Batch, an animated Star Wars series that focuses on a group of clone commandos navigating the galaxy after the events of Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. The original Republic Commando story was wiped from Star Wars continuity following Disney's purchase of Lucasfilm in 2012. But given that Delta Squad has now appeared in both Star Wars The Clone Wars and The Bad Batch, which are canon, it wouldn't be difficult to reverse that decision and make a direct sequel viable once again. So I totally agree with that, guys, all in all. But here's a big one. Republic Commando 2 would answer Star Wars' most infamous cliffhanger. So, of course, any potential Republic Commando sequel would have to address the first game's rage-inducing cliffhanger ending. Republic Commando's final level depicted the early stages of the Battle of Kashyyyk, with Delta Squad tasked with taking down a separatist dreadnought. As Delta lead, players are forced to split up their squad so that each clone can mount a given anti-aircraft weapon. After successfully taking down the enemy ship and linking up with Delta members Fixer and Scorch, Sev appears on the comm channel in distress, being overwhelmed by enemy troops. Boss immediately orders the rest of the squad to rescue Sev, but before they can move, the group are immediately reassigned to tackle a different objective, with Master Yoda himself delivering the news. Sev's fate was left ambiguous in Republic Commando and was never resolved in subsequent tie-in material. The Legends novel Imperial Commando 501st explored Delta Squad's reaction to Sev's fate following the events of Order 66, but only confirmed that he was missing in action. The question of what happened to Sev has continued to vex Star Wars fans years on from Republic Commando's release, making the need for a sequel even stronger. Totally agree. Anytime we see a cliffhanger, guys, in a major way, you really want to see a continuation of some form or another to see, like, kind of get things somewhat resolved or to understand. Obviously, guys, we see movies like Inception and such that kind of have those endings that leaves you thinking about it, and it's up to each audience member to perceive what the ending really is. But in a Star Wars title like this, that's not what I believe was intended. I believe they intended on making multiple more Republic Commando titles in the Star Wars universe, and they just ended up not doing so and moved on to other Star Wars narratives. So it's really interesting, guys. I would love to see it, though. Obviously, when you talk about a cliffhanger, I totally agree. I would love to see it. Now, the narrative potential for a Republic Commando sequel is strong, even ignoring Sev's fate, though, as it could work as a compelling companion piece to Star Wars The Bad Batch. Whereas the protagonists of that series were able to disobey the Empire and chart their own destiny, it appears as though Delta Squad wasn't so fortunate. Scorch shows up in The Bad Batch involved in Project War Mantle, training the Empire's new human recruits before pursuing Hunter and Gregor. If Scorch is serving the Empire, it's likely that Fixer and Boss are as well, meaning any Republic Commando sequel could focus on the same group of characters, only this time performing less than heroic deeds for the Empire. Something that totally could make sense. Now, here's a big one for me, guys. Republic Commando could be made canon again, which I think would be awesome. Lucasfilm Games recently announced that a full remake of Knights of the Old Republic is coming to PlayStation 5 and PC, but it's unlikely to bring Knights of the Old Republic series back into Star Wars canon. While certain elements of Knights of the Old Republic have been reintroduced into Disney's Star Wars, both the games and the many pieces of tie-in media that accompany them are simply way too expansive to accommodate in the new Star Wars continuity. Republic Commando, on the other hand, represents a much easier task. The first game spotlighted a specific unit during the Clone Wars. It was a much smaller scale story than some of the other titles LucasArts developed. That, coupled with Delta Squad being brought back into Star Wars canon in this Clone Wars TV show, means a direct sequel to the original game wouldn't be possible, as the protagonists already have a presence in the canon. I agree, guys. I would love to see Republic Commando come back into, canon for Star Wars. It could be something really special. Star Wars Republic Commando deserves to be an exception. While not as popular as Star Wars Battlefront or Knights of the Old Republic, the original 2005 title offered a unique Star Wars experience that is yet to be replicated. If Lucasfilm Games is looking to resurrect more Star Wars titles after Aspire's Knights of the Old Republic remake, then Republic Commando should be at the top of its list. That being said, I totally agree with this. Overall, guys, I would love to see another Republic Commando title. I think it could be something really special. Star Wars Battlefront, I want them to move away completely from Battlefront without question, guys. I just think that it was something that just over time became such a problem for the community. It tore the community in half. What I really am excited for, though, is Star Wars Eclipse. I think that's going to be a really special title. A Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 would be really great as well. I would even love to see The Force Unleashed, but Republic Commando could be something really special as well. And Knights of the Old Republic, guys, is a classic as well. All of these I would love to see have continuations. The only one that really feel strongly about not having a continuation of is Battlefront, because we just don't know where they would go with that. Now, obviously, Battlefront, as well as the second one, made them a lot of money, that being EA. So there's a good possibility that they will bring out a Battlefront 3. But, here's hoping that we get more titles like Republic Commando 2 or Imperial Commando. That would be absolutely awesome. But let me know, guys, what do you all think? In the comment section down below, would you like to see a Star Wars Republic Commando 2, or would you want to see other Star Wars titles? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Star Wars Republic Commando content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. Guys, thank you for all the support you've been giving me. I really, really appreciate it. All the new subscribers, all the new followers on my social media platforms. And by the way, guys, I would love to connect with all of you, whether it's in the comment section down below or on one of the social media networks I'm on. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as Twitch at @0_TV. Thanks again, guys, for all the support. It's because of all of you that we're growing every single day. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, guys. Helps out the YouTube channel in a massive way. Subscribe if you're new. Get notified every single time we have a new video that goes up. And with that being said, guys, stay positive. Just keep grinding. And I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.